Lagos Talks
91.3.
News.
The presidency has rated the February 25 presidential election as the biggest and most competitive in Nigeria's history. In a statement by Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garuba Shehu, the election marked improvement over past polls, pointing out that the outcome of the elections had been widely praised locally and internationally. The presidency noted that no one had disputed the result of the elections except those who lost to the will of the majority in the process. With just 4 days to the 2023 gubernatorial election, the National Security Advisor, Major General Babagana Monguno, retired, and the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, Mahmoud Yakubu, have called on political bigwigs to call their lieutenant and followers to allow eligible voters to exercise their franchise in peace. The NSA, who made the call at an Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security meeting with the INEC chairman yesterday in Abuja, assured that the security agencies have been given instructions to deal with any situation in which any rogue organization or institution decides to embark on.
So far, so good. We do not envisage anything that's going to be terrible or apocalyptic in terms of the next few days. But that does not mean that we should all do away with our state of readiness. We must comply with the rules. We must also allow everyone, I've said this so many times, to exercise their fundamental right as citizens of this country. What we do not want to happen is for anybody to preempt and to take the law into his or her own hands. We're going to give the maximum support to all entities involved in this process. And we're also calling on the political bigwigs, the gladiators.
Earlier in his remarks, INEC chairman, who said the state elections will be held in 28 states with more constituencies than the national elections, urged the parties and candidates to speak to their agents and supporters to see the elections as a contest and not war.
The governorship and state assembly elections this weekend involves more constituencies than the national elections. The state elections will involve 1,021 constituencies, 28 governorship and 993 state assembly seats. There will also be more candidates involved and more collation centers to protect. These are also local elections involving keen contests. It is therefore important for parties and candidates to speak to their agents and supporters to see the elections as a contest and not war.
The Nigeria Police has recovered 182 illicit arms and 430 ammunitions of various calibers across the nation in its efforts to tackle crimes. The force PRO, Olumiwa Dejobihu, in a statement yesterday, said the arms will be handed over to the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons, added that Inspector General of Police Usman Akali Baba ordered all commands and formations to intensify efforts towards decimating the proliferation of illicit arms and ammunition in the country. The police IG was said to have also extended additional human and logistic support to commands and formations across the country for effective election security management during the forthcoming governorship and state houses of assembly elections scheduled for Saturday, 18th of March 2023. The outgoing UK High Commissioner to Nigeria, Ms. Katrina Lang, has expressed satisfaction over the leadership of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, in promoting electoral laws since her assumption of office in 2018. Ms. Lang, who made the commendation during a courtesy visit to the Speaker yesterday, emphasized that the Speaker has been effective in his collaboration with the UK government and the Commission in supporting women in Parliament. She, however, expressed confidence that the incoming High Commissioner will work closely with Nigeria towards addressing any challenges in the legislative arm of the Nigerian government.
I've had some highs, many highs, a few lows, but overall it's been an absolutely wonderful experience, and it's a very strong foundation of that has been a really good working relationship with Mr. Speaker and his team. We've worked together on a number of very important electoral bills. His own initiative, the foundation he set up to support young legislators, I was very privileged to support that, the launching of that. So it's been a great pleasure working with him. Congratulations, obviously, on the success of your party. So I'm sure my successor will be working with you in a different capacity of some kind.
The National Identity Management Commission, the NIMC, has announced 1,000 Naira National Identification Number NIN verification fee for international passport application, renewal and issuance for Nigerians resident in the country. The NIMC also said Nigerians who reside in other African countries would pay $3 or its equivalent in other currencies, while those in other continents will pay $10 or its equivalent in other countries for the same purpose. A statement signed by the head of corporate communications of the NIMC, Kayode Adegoke, said the new arrangement, which will go live on 1st of April 2023, is in furtherance of the Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economies Directive to streamline passport application, renewal and issuance processes. The Ebonyi State Governor, Dave Umahi, has said despite a string of successes recorded by the Labour Party in the recent presidential and National Assembly elections in the southeast, the ruling All Progressives Congress, the APC, is getting stronger in the region. Fielding questions from State House correspondent after a meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari in Abuja, Governor Umahi, who emerged senator-elect during the last election, expressed optimism that his party will do well in the Ebonyi State at the March 18th gubernatorial polls.
For my state, I have nothing to worry. I think God has done the work for me. Our candidate, which is God's driven candidate, is going to emerge. No matter how desperate the opposition, we want to thrive, but we just thrive in vain. First and foremost is that Mr. P2B has announced that there is no Labour gubernatorial candidate in Ebonyi State. That is one, but even if the candidate stands election, it's no match to the candidate of APC. So I'm very sure that we're going to win. Because I've been very busy in Ebonyi State, it's not been very much easy for me to join a gubernatorial campaign in Enugu State or in Abia State. So I won't be able to honestly analyze what is the chances of our party, but I believe strongly that we are very strong candidates, especially in Abia State.
The Accord Party Lagos chapter has endorsed Babajide Sanwo-Olu and Deputy Governor Hamzat Obafemi for a second term, days to the governorship and House of Assembly elections. State Chairman of Accord Party Honorable Dele Oladiji said the party's decision was a collective agreement of all the party candidates across board based on recognition of Sanwo-Olu's performance in governing the state. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is traveling to Africa for a two-nation tour, the latest in a series of visits to the continent by top American officials. Security, a ravaging drought, and the jihadist threat in the Sahel will be the focus of Mr. Blinken's visits to the two countries this week. He will be in Ethiopia today, Wednesday, to discuss the implementation of the peace deal signed between the government and rebel troops following a 2-year bloody war. He will also meet humanitarian agencies in the country. U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris also plans to visit 3 African states from 25th of March to April 2nd in what will be her first trip to the continent since she took office more than 2 years ago. At least 190 people are now confirmed dead in Malawi after tropical Storm Freddy ripped through southern Africa for the second time in a month. Terrifying amounts of brown water have cascaded through neighborhoods, sweeping away homes. Malawi's commercial hub, Blantyre, has recorded most of the deaths, 158, including 36 in a landslide. The government has declared a state of disaster in 10 southern districts that have been hardest hit by the storm. Ratings giant Moody's has warned of more pain ahead for the U.S. banking system after a run on deposits led to the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank. Moody's cut its outlook for the sector to negative from stable, warning of a rapid deterioration in the operating environment. The downgrade came as banking shares in the U.S. and Europe rebounded following earlier losses. But Moody's said some other banks face risks of customers' withdrawals. It said rising interest rates also pose a challenge, exposing banks that bought assets such as government bonds when interest rates were low to potential losses. The Confederation of African Football (CAF) will visit Nigeria and Benin Republic between March 31 and April 2 to inspect facilities for the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. Nigeria and Benin Republic have put up a joint bid to co-host Africa's flagship soccer event. The CAF team is expected to inspect stadia, training facilities, hotels and other important facilities. Erling Haaland rewrote the record books by scoring an incredible 5 times as Manchester City swept RB Leipzig aside 8-1 on aggregate to reach the Champions League quarterfinals. The 22-year-old Haaland becomes the fastest and youngest player to reach 30 goals in Europe's elite club competition. He is also the youngest player to score 5 times in a single Champions League game, joining Argentina great Lionel Messi and Brazil forward Luis Adriano as the only players to do so. The other game last night saw Inter Milan move into the Champions League quarterfinals for the first time since 2011 as they eliminated Porto in the last 16 tie. And that's it on the World News this morning.